Hey everybody, this is Alex Merced from alexmercedcoder.com, and this video is just going to be like another tutorial on CodeSandbox. I've done this in before, but I did it like over across multiple videos. So my goal in this video is just to kind of have like one video that kind of goes over how to effectively use it, because sometimes it's a great tool. Let's just actually just show you what it does first. What it does, it gives you a way of just writing code and trying out code in your browser, which is pretty awesome. So let me sign in. And signing in is easy enough with your GitHub account. Okay. Nice. Now, let's say I want to create a new sandbox. I go to create sandbox, and you can choose from all these templates. So you can find templates in like React and Vue, Angular, Preact, you name it. They probably also have Svelte. Yep. Do they have Solid.js? Do they have Solid? Not yet. Maybe I'll make a Solid.js template. But yeah, you can find all sorts of really cool templates in a lot of different JavaScript frameworks, because this is primarily a JavaScript tool. But let's say I want to create a React sandbox. Yay! It's generating the sandbox. Okay, now let's make it say hello world. H1 hello world. So that's H1, and it works pretty well. And you have all the tools that you would normally have if you're working with like Visual Studio Code. So you have, if you go here, you have the console, so you can see like console logs. You have this problems that shows you like bugs. And if you're doing React, you have React Dev Tools right over here, so you can use React Dev Tools. You can actually pop this out into a separate window, so you can see the preview of the website in another window. So I can go like, boop, pop that out. And now I see this here, so I can work from it from there. And it'll automatically like update. It's pretty cool. So I can do that. So like editing, and then again, here's your files. You can add and subtract files. This is all well and good. And if I want to work with other dependencies, like if I wanted to add React Router, I would just add it down here. And then here, like for even other external resources I'd like to work with. So it's pretty cool. Okay, so that's this section right here. This is like the files. Then this is like your sandbox info, so I can give the sandbox a name. I can freeze it. Now this is pretty cool. What you can do is you can freeze it, and then you can save it as a template, so that way it becomes a starting place in the future. So that way you don't have to like rebuild certain things that you might have done. Like if this is like basically your boilerplate, you can save that template and use it as a starting place. You can also go here to File and export to a zip file, and you can actually download all the code as a zip. I generally don't recommend doing it that way. Let me show you the best way sort of to do it. Okay, here you can search, so you can search through all your files. Here's where you can work with different configuration files. So again, just like if you're familiar with JavaScript and you've been doing a lot of JavaScript, you're probably familiar with things like a package.json and some of these other configuration files, and you can set up your configs. But over here, see there's a GitHub link, and you can actually push your code to GitHub. Okay, so what you do is you say export the content of this sandbox to a new GitHub repository, allowing you to commit changes. If you want to open rather than importing system, open to GitHub. So this would, you click here if you want to like import a repository. If you're just looking to create a new repository, I would just do this. So we'll just say, hey, this like Sandbox practice. That's what we'll call it. Okay. And okay, that's wanting me to save my files first. So save all. Okay, Sandbox practice. So now if I click on this, see it's connected to my GitHub, because again I signed in with GitHub. So it's actually making a repository over there on my GitHub. So if I head over to GitHub, and I head over to, like, click over here, just type in Sandbox. There it is, Sandbox practice, with all my code. And I can then clone it to my computer. So then I can clone it. It's a normal React project, so I can just clone it to my computer, do an npm install, and just work on it from my computer. And the reason why that might be useful is because there are times where like a lot of people are using Sandbox at the same time, and it gets like a little chuggy. And sometimes it just, you know, depending on what's going on with your connection and their connection and all these different variables, you could end up in a situation where something doesn't save right, then you lost some work. So pushing it to a GitHub repository regularly is helpful. Okay, and I think it automatically syncs it. So yeah, it keeps it in sync. So as you edit it here, it'll update the GitHub repository and vice versa. So if you make updates to the GitHub repository because you cloned it to your computer, it'll also update the sandbox, which is pretty cool. Okay, you can actually deploy it. So I can go here, link my Vercel or Netlify account or GitHub pages, and deploy it just at the click of a button. and then it's deployed. That's pretty sweet. Okay, and then here what you can do is you can share the live session. So you can actually send people this link and they can watch you code live. Like they can actually just go to the page and they can see your changes as you make them. And you can enable a chat so that way people can chat with you while you code. There's like live mode where you can control what other people, like people can share their code and you can actually edit their code at the same time. There's also some really cool things you can kind of do there. Okay, but again, you can push your stuff to GitHub and you can deploy it all here from CodeSandbox, which is pretty useful. You can also do some changing of how your screen is set up. So you can kind of do that. I want to delete this, close all. Okay, the only thing you can't do is I can't like move this down here, unfortunately. Like that's always the thing. People want like to move like the dev tools down here. The best thing to do is just pop it into another window, and that's kind of like the solution to that. Like, let's see what these other things do. Project view, current module view. Okay, I'm not sure what that does. Toggle responsive preview. Okay, so that's if you want to like test the responsiveness of your design. Okay, but yeah, so this is a pretty cool tool. Okay, other similar tools are things like Repl. Now, the difference here is that Repl allows you to use like lots of different languages. So it's not quite as specialized. So like this is like much more robust for JavaScript. Like if I'm doing JavaScript, I'm probably gonna prefer doing this because it just kind of has a lot more tools for me. But Repl allows me to do a lot more different languages. Okay, so if I am doing a Node.js, I already have one, so let's go to the one that I have. Okay, you can edit code here, run it over here. It's just another tool. Like again, you see the similar things here on Repl, where I have my files. Okay, I can push stuff to GitHub. I think you can deploy from here. Databases, unit tests. It looks like you can key value store. Oh, okay. Repl has a little database you can use. That's pretty cool. Yeah, theme, packages, secrets. Like, well, I guess you can push it to GitHub, and then from there you can deploy it. Okay, but that's pretty cool. And the cool thing is you can do this in any like several different languages. So if I go plus new Repl, like, see, like there's like every language you can think of. So if you watched my videos, I've gone through like most of these languages and played with them and used Repl as my quick way where I can kind of show you how they work. Raku's cool. Kaboom, I haven't heard of that. Nix, oh, okay, they have a Nix one. I have to go try that one out. And Scala, I don't think I've tried that one out either. Is there any other new ones? TCL, I did try that one out. So maybe I did do Scala. I think I did do Scala. Deno, well, I just have Deno installed, so I just do it from there. And yeah, okay. And while we're at it, there's CodeSandbox. Not CodeSandbox, CodePen. This is more for like front end web design. So there's no back end. Like in CodeSandbox, you could actually do like an Express server and do back end and front end JavaScript. This is more strictly HTML, CSS in the front end. But you could create a new pen. I'm pretty sure there's probably templates. I haven't used CodePen as much. But if you did want to use React, what you could do is you just click over here in the JavaScript area. It's been a while. And then here you can add external scripts and whatnot. So you could add like React and all that stuff. But it's all front-endy. And you could just basically write your HTML here, your CSS here, and your JavaScript here, and you see the result over here. So if I were to write like an H1, hello world. See, I get that. And then you do have some options. Okay, if I can remember what they are. Because I'm pretty sure you can save the REPL, but I'm pretty sure this is, I think they're down here. Just being hidden at the moment. Console, assets. What's the C files? Okay. Fed themes and login debug view. I know there's a way to export your code. I think I gotta save it first. Okay, so now that that's saved, looks like I think I got some more options here. Comments, shortcuts. Let's drop this down. Settings. And details. privacy behavior editor, template, screenshot. I thought there was a way you could just export the code. Actually, right here it is, down here. Export. So here, if you want, you can export the code, and then you can save it as a GitHub Gist, or you can export it as a zip. And if you're not familiar with what a GitHub Gist is, a GitHub Gist is like a way to create like a single like file without having to create a whole GitHub repo. So like if I go to gist.github.com, like I go here, you can just literally like write, like if you wanted to write like a single markdown file as a guide, but you don't want to create a whole repo just for like a single markdown file, you could do it as a gist. I do this for like a lot of notes and reference. So you can see here, like I have different things I've written up. So like here's like a markdown on writing like React API calls, but it's a one-off because it's not part of any particular project. It's just something I use for reference. So I'll write them here under GitHub Gist, which is pretty useful. And I'll just save them as like one-off markdown files. So that's pretty neat. So you can export them as that from CodeSandbox. So hopefully this showed you some of the tools that you can use for working online. At the end of the day, like I always prefer working on my computer with Visual Studio Code, just because I like having everything on my computer and all my files saved locally, and then you know if there's an internet connection issue, I can still work. But you know that's the deal. Let me open up VS Code here. Okay, so like let's say like over here, here's like an example of like working Visual Studio Code locally, which is fine. But yeah, that's how all that works. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. My name is Alex Merced from alexmercedcoder.com. Do check out devnursery.com and join the Slack and Discord community. And you can learn more about me at alexmercedcoder.com. One other thing I want to mention is eventually they're going to have a, I forgot, I think it's called Code Spaces. Code Spaces, GitHub. Yeah, Code Spaces. This is going to future be basically like having Visual Studio Code in the browser. So you'll see here, like you can see like here an example. So you can actually open up your files from GitHub in the browser in Visual Studio Code in the browser. Yeah, that's going to be really cool when that's done. You know, so make sure you request early access. I'm already on the I'm on the wait list already. I can't wait to get access to that. That's going to be super sweet, but just so you're aware of like all the tools. There are other tools out there, but I think like if you're an early on developer, a coder, web developer, these tools should keep you busy plenty. And generally, actually, you can probably do most things just with those. So my name is Alex Merced. I'll see y'all later.